So the first news that Macbeth received was that Macduff had fled to England to join his enemy Malcolm. What was Macbeth's reaction? Stung with rage, Macbeth set upon the castle of Macduff. Stung with rage. Rage means anger. Stung is the past participle of sting. Hul ফুটিয়ে দেওয়া. Stung with rage. That means Macbeth was very much angry. Macbeth was very much angry with Macduff that he had fled to England to join his enemy Malcolm. What did he do? He set upon the castle of Macduff. Set upon means to attack. Macbeth attacked the castle of Macduff. Macduff's wife and children, whom the Thane had left behind in Scotland, were brutally slaughtered. Slaughtered means killed, brutally means cruel. Macbeth committed another grave sin. Mahapap করলেন Macbeth. He could not find Macduff, so to take revenge upon Macduff, he killed his helpless wife and children. Macduff, the Thane. Macduff was the Thane of Fife. Just as Macbeth was the Thane of Cawdor and Glamis. Macduff was the Thane of Fife. So Macduff had left his wife and children behind. He had not imagined that Macbeth would kill them, but Macbeth killed his wife and children. These merciless activities had gradually alienated the nobility from Macbeth. Merciless activities, that means cruel deeds, nishthur acharon. What were the merciless activities of Macbeth? Macbeth had started by killing Duncan. At first he thought that just the murder of Duncan was enough to fulfill his ambition. But Macbeth could not stop at one murder. He is, as we find, he was on a killing spree. He was committing one murder after another. At first he had murdered Duncan, then he planned the murder of his friend Banquo and his son Fleance. Now he has killed Macduff's wife and children. But these cruel activities alienated him. To alienate means to isolate, to separate. আলাদা করে দেওয়া. It isolated him from the nobility. Nobility means people who have blue blood in their veins. যারা অভিজাত. They are called the nobility, the generals, the thanes. They were very much angry with Macbeth. Many fled to join Malcolm and Macduff, who were now approaching with a powerful army which had been raised in England. An army was approaching Scotland. At the helm of the army, সেই বাহিনীর অধিনায়কত্বে রয়েছেন Malcolm and Macduff. Many thanes, many generals, many noblemen escaped and joined Malcolm and Macduff because they could not stand Macbeth. তারা ম্যাকবেথকে সহ্য করতে পারছিলেন না. They joined the enemy. And the rest means the remaining part. Those who did not join secretly wished success to their arms. Wished success to their arms. That means these thanes, these generals who did not directly join Malcolm's army, they also wished that Macbeth should be defeated. They had not joined them, but they were not with Macbeth. They had not joined them for fear of Macbeth. They were so afraid of Macbeth that Macbeth would kill them that they had not joined Malcolm. But they did not want the victory of Macbeth. তারা ম্যাকবেথের জয় চাইছেন না. They wished the victory of Malcolm and Macduff. They could not take active part. Everybody hated Macbeth the tyrant. Tyrant means one who tyrannizes. যে অত্যাচার করে, he is called the tyrant, অত্যাচারী. There was a time when Macbeth was respected throughout the kingdom for his courage, for his other qualities as a soldier. But now everyone hated him. Nobody honored him, but all suspected him. And he began to envy the condition of Duncan. Everyone disliked Macbeth, everyone hated Macbeth, and now Macbeth was jealous of Duncan. তিনি ডানকানকে হিংসা করছেন. Why? Duncan has been murdered. Why should Duncan be envied? ডানকানকে হিংসা করার কি আছে? Who now slept soundly in his grave. Duncan was dead, and he was enjoying a peaceful slumber in his grave under the ground. তিনি সমাধিতে নিদ্রা উপভোগ করছেন. and against whom treason had done its worst. Treason means rebellion against the king, Rajodhra. Treason had done its worst against Duncan. He has been murdered. Rajodhra সবচেয়ে খারাপটাই করেছে তার সঙ্গে. Duncan has been murdered. Now, nothing can harm him. Neither steel nor poison, domestic malice or foreign levies would hurt him any longer. Steel here means weapons. Weapons are made of steel. Weapons cannot hurt him. Poison cannot harm him. Domestic malice. Malice means ill feeling, biddesh. Domestic, that means inside the kingdom. No plot inside his kingdom. দেশের মধ্যে কোনো ষড়যন্ত্র. Or foreign levy. Levy means attack. Foreign attack cannot hurt Duncan any longer. Duncan was immune to everything. তিনি সব কিছুর ঊর্ধ্বে. That is why Macbeth envied him. Macbeth was jealous of him because he did not enjoy a peaceful sleep. Meanwhile, the queen, who had been the sole partner in his wickedness, the queen means Lady Macbeth. Sole means only. Lady Macbeth was the only accomplice of Macbeth. Macbethের দুষ্কর্মের একমাত্র সহযোগী Lady Macbeth, on whose bosom he could sometimes seek a momentary repose from those terrible dreams which affected them both. Repose means rest, momentary means transient, ক্ষণিক. ক্ষণিকের আশ্বাস তিনি পেতেন from his wife Lady Macbeth. He could find solace, he could find comfort only in the presence of Lady Macbeth. But Lady Macbeth passed away. That means Lady Macbeth died. Unable to bear the remorse of guilt, and as she suffered from somnambulism, she ultimately committed suicide. How did Lady Macbeth die? Lady Macbeth committed suicide. Why? Because she was unable to bear. Bear means to tolerate, সহ্য করা. She could not tolerate the remorse of guilt. Remorse means repentance, অনুতাপ. It was Lady Macbeth who had enticed Macbeth to kill Duncan. It was Lady Macbeth who had drawn Macbeth towards the path of sin. পাপের পথে ম্যাকবেথকে নিয়ে এসেছিলেন Lady Macbeth. Now Lady Macbeth was suffering from repentance. In the original play, Lady Macbeth would roam about the palace with a lamp in his hand, in her hand. She was called the lady with the lamp. তাকে বলা হতো প্রদীপ হস্তে নারী. Actually she did it because of repentance. She said all the saints of Arabia would not be able to remove the stain of blood from her hand. আরবের সমস্ত সুগন্ধীয় হাত থেকে রক্তের দাগ মুছে দিতে পারবে না. She suffered from somnambulism. Somnambulism means sleepwalking. It is a mental disease where the person walks in his or her sleep. ঘুমের মধ্যে হাঁটা. This is called somnambulism. The person who does it is called a somnambulist. So Lady Macbeth suffered from repentance, she suffered from somnambulism, and she committed suicide. Macbeth was left alone. He grew careless of life and longed for death. Now Macbeth had lost interest in life. He had become the king. His ambition was fulfilled, but he had no peace in life. His wife was dead. He had no friends. Everyone hated him. Macbeth longed for death. To long for means to wish strongly. The new approach. Here it is written actually the. The new approach of Malcolm's army roused in him what remained of his ancient courage. Now Malcolm was approaching with the army, and the news that Malcolm was approaching with the army roused in him his ancient courage. Ancient means old. There was a time when Macbeth had great courage. তার একটা সময় ছিল যখন তার সাহস ছিল. Now he has lost it. But the approach of the army aroused in him the lost courage. হারিয়ে যাওয়া সাহস তিনি আবার ফিরে পেলেন. And he was determined to die with armor. To die with armor means to die in the battlefield. যুদ্ধক্ষেত্রেই প্রাণ দেবেন বলে ঠিক করলেন. The hollow promise of the three witches had also filled him with a kind of false confidence, and he remembered the prophecies of the spirits that no one born of a woman's womb could kill him. He also believed in the soothsaying. Soothsaying means prediction, that he could never be vanquished, that means defeated, until Burnham would come to Dunsinane, which he thought was impossible. The predictions of the spirits also filled him with a false sense of confidence. The spirits had predicted that no man born of a woman could kill Macbeth. They had also predicted that until and unless the Burnham Woods came upon the Dunsinane hill, he could not be defeated. নারী গর্ভজাত কেউ তাকে হত্যা করতে পারবে না। বার্নাম অরণ্য ডানসিনেন পাহাড়ে উঠে না এলে তিনি পরাজিত হবেন না। So these predictions filled Macbeth with confidence. So he shut himself up in his own castle, which was thought to be absolutely impregnable. Impregnable means that cannot be conquered. Yavajiro. His castle was on the Dunsinane hill, and he shut himself in that castle and waited for Malcolm to invade it. To invade means to attack. So this was Malcolm's strategy. He would not come out to attack Malcolm. He would remain in his castle and keep a watch on Malcolm's army. He was on the top of Dunsinane hill and he could have an easy idea about the enemy army. This was Malcolm's strategy. Macbeth's strategy. So we have read up to this point. I will send you the word notes, the questions. So prepare it. Thank you.